Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early lights what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, you can all be seated and get ready for a wonderful evening where we honor 6 people who really deserve to receive the George Peabody Legacy Award. But before we do that, I'd like to welcome our dignitaries who are here. Some will be saying a few words, and the emphasis is few. So we have with us tonight, we have Representative Tom Walsh. You'll also see Representative Kearns coming in. She's on her way. We have Senator Joan Lovely, who will be here. And we also have Mayor Ted Betancourt. Now, in no particular order, we have the following people here. John Swanson from School Committee. We have Superintendent Josh Vidalia. We have Katrina Vasallo from the Library Trustees. Also my daughter. Just saying. We have Kelly Chase, the Assistant Superintendent. We have Chief of Police Tom Griffin. We had my best friend on the City Council, Tom Gould. Jared Hockman from the School Committee. John Turco, Counselor at Large. Tom Rosignol, Counselor at Large. He couldn't be here tonight, but he made a nice donation. Craig Welton, Ward 1 Counselor. And my good friend, Joe Amico. And if I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. I never like to do name announcing. I usually like to say dignitaries. But we also, this evening, would like to honor and have recognized past recipients. So if past recipients could stand up just to be seen. That's the beauty of Peabody people. Once here, always here, which is wonderful. So I'd like to ask the mayor to come up and say a few words.
Well, good evening. I'm very honored to be here tonight to share in the recognition of and to offer my heartfelt congratulations to the worthy recipients of the George Peabody Legacy Award and their families. I also want to thank the Peabody Education Foundation for this wonderful event. I am proud to be a very small part of such a caring group of citizens who year after year provide the schools, teachers, and our students with additional resources. I've always had a deep love of this city, and that warm feeling is deeply embedded in me because of the supportive and challenging environment that I grew up in. And it all began with my experiences as a student. I'm a proud graduate of the Peabody Public Schools. From kindergarten at the South Memorial School through my graduation at Peabody High School, I was continually blessed to be surrounded by administrators and teachers who cared for me and my classmates and worked hard to provide me the tools I needed to pursue my goals in life. I could stand here right now and recite the names of every teacher that I ever had. I really could do that. I'm extremely happy to know or have known personally each recipient tonight. In fact, 3 of the 6 tonight I had as I was a student of theirs. Mrs. Haig in English class, my junior year. Mr. Buckley, I think I was actually Mr. Buckley's first class that he taught at Peabody High School. I was in that class. And then Mark Metropolis. Mr. Metropolis was a coach in basketball. I'm very fortunate to have had all 3 of them a part of my life. As an elected official, and more importantly as a parent of 4 young children, you hope and pray that your educational leaders and teachers are dedicated, committed, and care for their students. You each put a lot of faith into these men and women to educate, guide, and challenge future generations. It is a great gift to have the opportunity to contribute in such a profound and meaningful way. The 6 men and women we honor here tonight have left their imprint on our city and have impacted countless students. As a parent, you can only hope that people like the recipients tonight are those that touch your children's lives in their educational journey. The work each honoree did is essential. The impact all of you made was real. The support, encouraging words, and discipline you provided mattered to the children in your care. Peabody is a better place because all of you were here. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And we'd also, so every recipient gets a citation both from the House of Representatives in the state as well as the state Senate. So I'd like to have first Tom Walsh from the House of Representatives to come up and read the citation that they're providing. And we'll only read it once.
Good evening. Congratulations to all of you. Well deserved. David said I had to be brief, so I'm just going to read the citation, but I truly am honored to be with you this evening. This is really a momentous occasion, and it's great to see so many past recipients here as well. And I, like the mayor, I'm a product of the Peabody Public School System, South Memorial as well. I was a few years ahead of Ted. In fact, I was talking to a few of my teachers who are here tonight, and the scary thing is that we all qualify to be at the senior center now. So I don't know how that happened that my teachers and I can all be at the senior center, but that's the way it is. But I'm going to read a citation. This one is to Eric Buckley, but to each of you it says pretty much the same thing. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to each of you. Eric, this one is yours. In recognition of your outstanding dedication and commitment to the students of the Peabody Public School System, recognizing you as 2022 George Peabody Legacy Award recipient. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. And this is signed by the Speaker of the House, Ron Mariano, and myself. And before I step off, I just got a text from Representative Kearns, who is running behind and may not make this event, but wanted to extend her best wishes to all of you, and I'm sure you will hear from her. So thanks and congratulations, and enjoy the evening.
In the words of Tommy Paris, what a great guy. We are fortunate tonight as well because this is a busy political season, as you know. They're all up for election, and they're all campaigning. But we have with us this evening Senator Joan Lovely, who is also a good friend of Peabody and a good friend of education. So, Joan.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. I'm very honored to be here tonight to honor our awardees this evening, and I would like to also read a citation from the Massachusetts Senate. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, State Senate Official Citation. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to all of the George Peabody Legacy Award honorees. In recognition of receiving the George Peabody Legacy Award for your dedication, supporting, educating, and empowering youth across Peabody. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate, and attested to and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate. It is signed by our President, Karen Spilka, and attested by our Clerk, Michael Hurley, and offered by me with pride and honor. Congratulations. Thank you.
We want to make sure you have plenty of paper to plaster your walls with when you go home, so that's a beautiful thing, and thank you very much. I remember the first time I got a citation, I was thrilled. I was like, wow, I finally got something with too many whereases in it. So, before we move on to these musical selections, I just wanted to make one comment and an apology. First of all, we didn't mean to set the building on fire. That was clearly a crazy incident, but the sterno caught the tablecloth, and thank you, anyone who assisted in putting out the fire. I'd hate to see it in the newspaper tomorrow, but that would have been kind of funny. Secondly, I also want to apologize. This year, in prior years, we used the same caterer who was kind of used to our crowd and kind of knew what was going on. This year, because he's left the business, we had to go with a new caterer who kind of wasn't used to the numbers yet and the crowd, so I apologize that some people got shorted on the food. I truly feel bad about that, but just remember, the little that you ate, a lot of what you gave goes to the charity anyway, so enjoy. With that, we're going to have our musical selection from Mr. Simmons. Unbelievable. I used to love, one thing about being a former elected official, you used to love inaugurations because at inauguration, these guys would always sing, and it just is so inspiring to see how much a student can bring and how much beauty there is in all that they do. And thank you, John Simmons. Also a Legacy Award recipient. This is the filler part. Ted usually tells a joke, but as we wait for this screen to come down, we want to tell you about really the genesis of this award and the Peabody Education Foundation. For many of us, we thought back 10 years ago, and this is our 10th annual, that it was sad that in a city that honors athletes so much, there was no really great honor for an educator or a philanthropist, and that sometimes they're like the forgotten warriors. So the idea was, let's have people nominate people who impacted their life from an educational perspective, or who gave so much and asked so little. And so the Peabody Education Foundation decided to start this event, and we're going to continue this event because there are so many great honorees. The question came to me tonight was, how did we get nominated, et cetera, et cetera. It's pretty much an anonymous process. People send in information about a candidate that they want to nominate, and of course we can only do, this is our maximum 6 a year, and we put names on a list. And our list right now is over 54 deep. And as new recipients come in, we look at the number of years that they've been nominated, as well as the subject and the thought process that went into the nomination, and we make a selection with a nomination committee. And that's how people get awarded the George Peabody Legacy Award. And the beauty of now with the State Senate and the State House is you're recorded there in the minutes. Your citation is registered there, so you'll be forever remembered along with our wall here of all the good that you did. I could stand here and talk for many minutes about the Peabody Education Foundation. We are a 501c3. We are a full charity. Every dollar that's donated to us goes back into the schools. There's not 1 cent of overhead. But rather than me tell you about what we do, we're going to roll a clip that shows you, for the first time, we've got a video clip that shows you exactly what we do.
The Peabody Education Foundation is made up of city officials, community members, business leaders, and educators who work behind the scenes to bring innovative programs and events to the 10 public schools in Peabody with the common goal of educating our community's future generations. The programs offered through the foundation run throughout the school year and provide students with different opportunities that they would not otherwise be able to access. The signature program is the PEF Grants Program. Every fall, the Peabody Education Foundation offers Peabody teachers and principals an opportunity to provide their schools and classrooms with programs, field trips, and resources that fall outside of the normal school budget. The teachers and principals fill out an application for a program, and if approved, the foundation works to raise the money to pay for the program. Since 1985, the Peabody Education Foundation has worked endlessly to raise over $1 million from within the community to bring these innovative programs to our public schools. Some of these programs include Botball Robotics, Higgins Green Screen Studio, Drunk Busters, STEM Mathematics, Skydome Planetarium, Outdoor Classrooms, the Whalemobile, and more. Through the PEF Grants Program, the Foundation has helped our principals and teachers bring several innovative programs to their classrooms. The Birthday Books program is one such initiative. Under this program, students pick a brand new book on their birthday to keep forever. Since its launch, the program has been expanded to all Peabody elementary schools, making it a permanent program for the PEF. Our goal for the Birthday Books program is to foster a love of reading in our students and promote family time. The Peabody Education Foundation also offers a guest reader program where business leaders, city officials, and local citizens spend 20 to 40 minutes per week reading to students in grades K through 5. The purpose of the guest reader program is to show students the pleasures of reading and present them with positive role models in the community. The program then runs from January to early May. If you're interested in becoming a guest reader, please visit our guest reader webpage on our website. In recent years, the Peabody Education Foundation has introduced new and relevant programs to benefit students in our community. One such program is the Mental Wellness Initiative. The initiative was launched to raise mental health awareness and provide our students and teachers with resources to address mental health challenges. Under this initiative, the Foundation has provided all Peabody elementary schools with reading materials to promote social-emotional teaching. The Foundation has also collaborated with artists and motivational speakers, such as Rob Surrett and Norm Bossio, to deliver inspiring messages to our students and ultimately support their overall well-being. This program will be evolving over time, so make sure to check out our website for newly added programs. Along with offering these great programs, the Foundation holds an annual George Peabody Legacy Award ceremony. Named after the city's namesake, George Peabody, the award recognizes and honors educators and philanthropists from within our local community who have provided a lifetime of contribution to our educational system. The recipients are honored every year. It is our goal to not only help and support our teachers and educators, but also recognize them for all they do that goes unnoticed. The Peabody Education Foundation also offers an annual scholarship named after our dear friend, Kara E. Murtagh. Kara was an active member of our foundation who fiercely devoted most of her life to our students' education. Every year, the foundation awards a Peabody Veterans Memorial High School senior who's interested in pursuing a career in the education field with a $2,500 scholarship to help support their college education. Through this scholarship, we hope to preserve and carry on Kara's legacy of every student, every day. The Peabody Education Foundation is only able to provide programs and events like these through the generous donations of our local community. Help our foundation continue these great programs by making a donation today and investing in our kids' future. 100% of all donations received go directly to Peabody's teachers and students to help enhance their education. The Peabody Education Foundation is a 501c3 organization, which means 100% of your donation is tax deductible. To get involved with any of these innovative programs and events, or to make a donation, please visit peabodyedfoundation.org.
So that's better than me droning on about what we do. And it's quite, I describe us as the little engine that could. We're now in our 37th year, and if you take the average grant amounts that we release every year, which is around $50,000, you can quickly calculate out that we've already given back to the community about $1.8 million. And it goes to programs that might not have ever happened had it not been for our foundation. And I'm particularly proud of the mental wellness and the work that we did during the COVID pandemic period, because kids needed to know it was okay not to be okay, not to feel okay. And we were able to bring speakers in, social emotional libraries, and a lot of different things, de-stressing centers, and help them, make it through. It was hard for all of us, but it's particularly hard for children. So anything that you ever want to do, if you go to peabodyedfoundation.org, and if you'd like to donate, please do, because we do have a lot of good corporate donors, but every dollar counts in terms of what we can do for the city. And one last remark on that. Many years when we were doing our grant program, we might have affected 1,500 students or so. Last year and the year before, we affected 100% of the student population in Peabody with programs. So, great job, Peabody Ed Foundation. And if I could have If I could have my board members who are present here stand up, please, and just, if you could give them a round of applause. They come every month on a Tuesday morning, and they give up their time, their effort, and their treasure to make sure that this program goes off well. So that's the end of the commercial, and we are now ready for the awards part of the program, the part that you're all here for. And our first award recipient this evening is Eric Buckley. I've had the pleasure of knowing Eric personally for many years, but you may or may not know he was employed by the system for 25 years. He's now retired, although I'm not sure what that actually means in Eric's mode. He was originally hired as a permanent building sub, and he moved on to become a teacher, a history teacher, a department head, a guidance counselor, an assistant principal, and then a principal. Well loved by all who surrounded him and by both his peers as well as his students. This next clip will tell you quite a bit about Eric and his accomplishments.
When my son was playing baseball back in the early 90s, during one of the games, one of the parents came over to talk to me, and she asked if she could ask me something, and I said, sure. She said, a very nice young man will be student teaching at the high school next year, and I would like you to take care of him if you could. And I said, well, I'll do the best I can. And that young man happened to be Eric Buckley. The thing I remember about Eric the most was he was a rapid rise to great success. He was a teacher. He became a guidance counselor. He was department head. He was vice principal, and then he was principal. So when his future mother-in-law asked me to take care of him, I think, honestly, he could have taken care of me.
The adults now and the colleagues that we have that were his students that formed strong bonds with him that still have come back to work for him and with him throughout the later years, that, he's had definitely a strong positive impact on a lot of people's lives, especially when people come back to work alongside you. You can kind of tell that.
He was one of those teachers that I had that was the reason I became a teacher. When I was a freshman here at Peabody, he was my history teacher, first period. So he was the first experience I had in this building, and he made such a good first impression that I came all the way back here.
So I remember Eric when he was vice principal here when I was a student, and he was always so welcoming. The students knew him, I knew him, and he was a big reason why I even wanted to come back and teach at this building. He never would try to go behind your back with any information. He always told you how it was. He was very upfront with you, and he told you how it was because I think that's how he knew people liked it. He didn't want to be fake leader. He wanted to be a good leader, and part of being a good leader is just being honest with your employees so that we can trust them.
I think as a person, it was kind of the way that he was as a colleague, as a principal or a teacher or whatever. He really didn't have a lot of ego. There wasn't a lot of ego associated with him. He didn't wear his principal's badge on his chest. He was interested in you as a person and was very down to earth that way. And he just was really friendly and outgoing, not in a loud, boisterous way. But when you were with him, you got that feeling from him.
Eric was a good candidate for the job, and had a good disposition and get along good with the students. And he was a hard worker, very conscientious. In fact, he was so good, I decided that where I was wearing several hats at the time, during Student Government Day and the yearbook for many years, I decided to see if he had an interest in taking that over, because that was a big job, and he handled that very well.
Was always very dependable. He was around if you needed him. One of the best things about him is whether you liked his answer to something or not, he was honest and told you how it was going to be. It was
a lot of fun. Working with Eric was a lot of fun. It was, coming here in the morning first to start your day with a few laughs. If there was ever a tough spot as a new administrator, kind of not knowing the ropes yet, starting to learn the job, he was always that point of support, but always there was always that humor Whether it was, we were in a tight spot with a couple, maybe a student or two, and I really needed some help and some decision making, and it was, kind of a serious situation. He'd always find a way to find the comedy in it and really lighten the mood, but always showing me the right steps to take in in handling a particular academic or student situation.
I remember it was probably 2 years before Eric retired. We had a medical emergency here in the hallway and in the hallway downstairs, and our walkie-talkies were buzzing. Everybody was flying. One of my colleagues went by me with the AED, and I came around the corner, and Eric was there with the paddles in his hand, and he was paddling a student, and that's a pretty righteous thing. I don't think we all think we would do the job when it came to us, but he jumped right in there and he knew what he had to do. And he did it, and it was just amazing. It was amazing to see. He could keep us calm and cool, and he wasn't overwhelmed by anything. And when it was time to act, he acted.
Within our department, there was this group of us who would very often get together, and we would solve a lot of problems and a lot of issues. And Eric was a part of that. I was a part of that. And we called ourselves the Breakfast Club. And I just think that we made a difference, and he certainly has made a difference.
Eric, we're very, very proud of you. Congratulations.
Eric, congratulations.
Congratulations, Eric, on winning the George Peabody Legacy Award. It's a huge honor. It's well-deserved.
Congratulations, Eric, Mr. Buckley, for winning the Legacy Award. Very well-deserved. You're the best.
So, Eric, we'd like you to come up. We have several things for you. We have your award, your George Peabody Legacy Medal, which I hope you'll wear proudly, your citations, and as you saw, your name emblazoned on the wall out there to be remembered forever for all that you did. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So just to start out, I remember Gene Marchetti calling me and saying, "Oh, wait till you get up there. You're going to just lose track of everything." And I said, "Yeah, okay, sure." I did. So to start out, I already forgot to put on my glasses, which I can't see a thing now. But I'd like to thank everyone for coming here this evening. It's been an overwhelming evening so far. We've been sharing so many great memories throughout the many years of being at the high school and a year here at the Higgins. First, I'd like to congratulate all the inductees, both past and present, and I'm truly humbled to be mentioned in this group of educators. I'd like to thank the Peabody Ed Foundation and their members for all their hard work in support of the teachers and students of the Peabody Public Schools. Thank you so much. It's been an honor, obviously, being inducted, but through the years, too, just being a part of it and coming to the past years and seeing people inducted. It's just been a real thrill. When I received the letter in the mail, I actually said to myself, geez, I've really lost touch. I don't even know who the inductees are this year. I figured it was just another letter for the ticket for this time of year. So you can imagine when I opened that letter and the shock on my face, my wife was standing there and just said, "Is that the letter?" And I said, "Yeah." So she knew and I didn't. So it's kind of hard to surprise me sometimes, but that did. As you know, after 28 years, retirement came kind of abruptly. I've obviously had some medical issues in the past, overcame those, but things were starting to. I've had doctors chasing me for a while to say, you know what, maybe it's time. And after I kind of struggled with that, I remember going into Kara's office and saying to her, "I don't want to talk about it. The decision's made. If you talk to me about it for more than 2 minutes, I'll be back next year." And I think it's the right time right now. So we shed some tears over that. Like I said, it was really tough to let go. And then obviously with what happened with Kara herself, and then just a few days later with Judy, I really questioned if I did the right thing or not, leaving the school system and not knowing obviously what was what was going to happen, but it did leave it kind of open. And then obviously, like we've mentioned with COVID, it was one of those situations where I just didn't feel like I got the closure that I needed. So this nomination has really allowed me, I guess, some of that closure and to really think about what my career was. And I could be up here probably all night and nobody wants that. I heard what David said and I totally agree. The less said, the better. But you could talk for hours just about so many different things. And that was just a great summary too. I think my career, close to 3 decades, you could almost break it into each decade. It was a time when I was very lucky, as you saw, to have such great mentors in the social studies department. They were more than just teachers. They were mentors to kids, and that was what really drew me, I think, to the teaching and to them. We love to obviously teach the subject, but we also like to sit with kids and talk about things that maybe were on their mind, or what we needed to know about what was going on maybe within the school itself, or what was going on even in the city and at their homes. It was a bond that I saw happen with a number of teachers and kids, and it was something that just kind of continued through my career. So I really appreciate learning from the best. It was a great time for me to be probably the 18th member of the social studies department, the young kid in the school, walking the halls. I actually had somebody once, believe it or not, stop me and say, where are you going? And I said, oh, I teach here now. I'm subbing, actually. So that was a great time, being one of the young guys. But as time went on, that second half of your career, you're over your 10 years, because back then it was just shut your mouth and listen and learn. And it wasn't said in a bad way, but it was just what you did. And after, 10 plus years, you start to get a little braver. You go to different things and you say, okay, I have some opinions I'd like to share. So after 10 years or so, there was a contract situation that got a little bit, started to get a little tense. And I thought, you know what, this is my chance. I think I'm going to say something to this union president, Ed Sapienza. So, yeah, people that know Ed, you don't know what you were approaching. He had that stoic look on his face where you didn't know if he was going to smile at you or punch you. So I figured I'd do it in the men's room. So that's where we met up, and I said, kind of said my spiel, and he looked at me and he said, we'll be in touch. And right there I said, oh boy, what did I just do? So the next thing I know, I had the henchman from the union, Mr. Bruce Nelson, the muscle of the union, at my door and saying, you will be at the next union meeting. And that's when I really knew things were going to get interesting. But it was probably the best thing in my career, too. It really changed. It made me look at the bigger picture of what we had not only at Peabody High School, but the other 9 schools throughout the city, and what a great system and what a great group of teachers throughout the elementary, middle school, and high school that worked in the city. It also helped me understand that you can't just have 2 sides fighting all the time. There had to be, there was tense times, but there had to also be, I guess I'm running out of time. Too bad, I'm finishing this. I wrote this at 5 o'clock, I'm finishing it. So anyways, yeah. So it was a big change in life, but it was also one of those things that you realize that both sides had to work together, and I think that's really missing today in society. It's so polarized, it's too bad. It also formed a bond between Ed and I that went beyond work. Later, as his assistant principal, I learned so much of what it takes to run an effective school of that size and diversity. He also guided me through one of the biggest challenges in life, which was my cancer diagnosis. Ed's quietness was sometimes hard to interpret, like I said before, but he was a man who cared about people. And I remember calling him and telling him that on a Friday night, and we met Saturday morning at the school about the diagnosis. And I'll never forget that talk that we had, and I'd just like to thank him publicly, too. Later, as principal, As Brooke said up there, the responsibilities were immense and the stories got even crazier. The challenges ran the gamut of emotions hourly, sometimes a minute. But my team always, whether it was the teachers or the administration team, always came through. From tough decisions to literally saving lives, as Bill pointed out, we were together and that made the job always enjoyable. But it was the kids, as you'll see tonight when we talk to the other inductees. There were so many stories. I had a hard time really putting anything together to really capture that. I would go out for my walks and I'd say, I got to start thinking about this. And I would think about some of the craziest things and the stories and just the nice things that went on. And all of a sudden, you know, like I said, by 5 o'clock tonight, I said, I better start organizing something here and get something down on paper. So, you know, it was just great having that kind of, it led to just such a great career. I see some of them that came here tonight in support and truly love them. I see them now with their families. I meet their children. They're not even babies. They're actually kids that are in school now, which makes me feel very old. This profession has made it a wonderful and fulfilling life. This award says that I gave a lot, but honestly, I received so much more and a lifetime of memories. Lastly, I'd like to thank so many, and I apologize in advance if I've missed anybody. But my old social studies department, both the old social studies group, you know who you are, and the new, there was a nice representation up there. I felt like I learned a lot from you, and then I was able to pass that down to my department, which was really nice. The teachers who aren't, and like Dave said, there are a number of them that have been nominated that aren't Legacy Award winners, but someday might be up there, and if not, are still legends amongst many of the Peabody students that went through these schools. To the teachers and my colleagues, always fun. You know, some of the things that we talk about in school will stay in school like it does in Vegas, but it was always entertaining, both academically and just things that were going on throughout the world. My administrative team, especially Judy Maniatis, you know, Bill Kroll, Bob Boer, Brooke Randall, Teddy Tarallo, and now Ashlyn Fidalgo, Phil Sheridan. You know, they weren't the principal, but they were always right there, and I leaned on them incredibly hard, and they were always there to make decisions that were hard for me to make, too. We worked so well as a team. And just one quick story about that, and with the teachers, too. One of my proudest moments, I think, was going to the prom, and people used to say, what are you doing going to Boston? Are you crazy taking 400 or 500 kids into Boston? And I said, they've never given us a reason not to. And I remember at one of the places, at his security, I introduced myself, and he says, no, I know who you are. He says, you come here every year. And he says, and those kids, this is the best prom. It's the biggest prom we do. It's the best prom we do. I've never seen so many kids want to take pictures with their teachers and with you know, all the adults that are there. So that was, I thought, just a wonderful compliment. Can't get any better than that. My students who I see, if I see you around, I'm having a hard time seeing now, so just say hi, please. Because sometimes when you look at somebody, you look like you're a weirdo now at this age, so it's better when you say hi first than I pick the wrong person. And to my friends that showed up here tonight that I've known since high school and college and beyond, thank you for being here. My family, to my brothers and my mom who are here tonight, thank you. To my kids, Ryan, Sarah, and Luke, sorry you had to go to school with Dad, but that's the way it was. It paid the bills. And to my wife, who got the brunt of it when I came home, because there was a lot of times in school you have to remain calm and you can't say anything, but she was the one that heard it as soon as I got home. I think the only time she ever got mad is when we were talking to somebody and they said, he's so calm in school. And I thought she was going to lose it at that point. But thank you, Erin, for everything. This makes it all worth it. And just one last person I'd like to recognize is my dad. He's been gone now for 2 years. Some of you knew him. Just a great guy, and always encouraged myself and my brothers and anyone he really talked to do what you love and do what you like. Don't chase the money. And he was always very supportive of that and proud, so I know he would have really enjoyed being here tonight, but I'm sure he's with us in spirit. So again, thank you to all of you. I hope that didn't go too long. They didn't turn the lights back on, but they didn't turn these off, so thank you very much.
Everybody worries about, they say to me, you know, how long do I speak? I say, you know what? You gave us 25 years. We can afford a few minutes to listen and to learn and to appreciate all that you've done. So thank you. Our next honoree, unfortunately, is no longer with us. Passed too early. Ellen Burke. She was a good friend, a great teacher, and a wonderful person. And I think this next clip tells you more than I could ever tell you.
She was my mentor, my colleague, my friend. One of my first memories was arriving at the center school in the mid-90s, fresh out of college, and she just took you under her wing. She had humor, she made you feel welcomed, she made you feel comfortable.
As a teacher, she was one of those that always knew exactly what every student needed, and she was spot on every single time. And she always found the best in every student and celebrated that with those students every single day. Every day that we came to work, there was always some laughter and silliness just to get us through every single day. She always made light of everything so that those times when we really needed that moment of just don't sweat the small stuff, she was always there to do that for us.
I learned so much from Ellen. She was great. She's so funny, and I learned pretty much just to take everything in stride, not worry, you know, just let things go, enjoy it, and don't be so serious, and laugh sometimes. Ellen had a gift of, you know, being funny and making others laugh.
You know, she had a unique way of trying to tell you things that maybe she didn't want the kids to know. For instance, one time she came into my room singing the Mickey Mouse song from Disney, M-I-C-K-E-Y, M-O-U-S-E, and looking at me. And within a couple of seconds, I realized she was trying to tell me that there was a mouse stuck in between our bathrooms. Instead of just coming in and whispering, "There's a mouse in the bathroom," Ellen always had that unique way of trying to tell you something.
I could always count on her to come in with something funny on her head to make me laugh if we were stressed or we had a lot going on, just to lighten the mood and know that she was there for me. One thing that she always told them was, don't sweat the small stuff. And I think that is definitely one of her legacies that she taught her students and her friends and teachers.
She got the kids excited. You never knew how she was going to arrive. She would come to school in full Cat in the Hat suit with makeup, or one day she would come walking down the hallway in fishing waders to get the kids excited about a story we were reading on fishing. There are different sayings that she would teach the kids. One particular one was, did you do a Mr. Burke look or a Mrs. Burke look? And that was if the children were looking for something. If they didn't do a really good job looking, it was a Mr. Burke look. And if they were really thorough in their search for whatever they were trying to find, it was a Mrs. Burke look.
I will never be able to look at a box of Crayola crayons in the same way again, because one Halloween we all decided to dress up as a certain color of a crayon, and Ellen didn't want to do that. She wanted to be different, and she dressed up as the box. And so she was right there, the center of attention, as always. And, you know, we did have a good time, but that was Ellen.
I loved Auntie Ellen because she was always funny, and I loved her because she was happy, and I would make her cards when she got sick. I would always visit her, and we'd always sometimes sit and talk to her. I would love her because she was always there for me, and I love her because she was always funny when she would do some funny stuff, and I'd make her a funny card. And I loved when we went to the beach together, and when we went to Salem Mills to get some Hobbs popcorn. I miss her.
Ellen taught first grade here at Center School, and I taught second grade. And let me tell you, she was a tough act to follow.
If you had Mrs. Burke as a teacher, she would remain your favorite teacher forever. And staff felt the same way about her. If you were lucky enough to be a colleague of hers, you were a friend of hers for life. This job, as much as we love it, comes with its fair share of stressors. But with Ellen around, she would lighten the mood all day long, just injecting humor however she could, wherever she could. We knew that when she was retiring, there would be a massive void. And it's been true.
I was a 4th grade teacher, and she was down in the annex here, and I didn't get to see her much except in the teacher's room. So I really enjoyed listening to her talk at lunchtime and laugh. But what I most remember about Ellen is when I was a parent of a kindergarten student, Megan. And when Megan was going into 1st grade, unfortunately my son Mark passed away. But Ellen came up to me at the wake and she said, Michelle, Megan is going to be in my class and I'm going to take good care of her for you. She's in good hands with me. And I really thank Ellen for that. I know you're taking good care of Mark up in heaven and teaching the kids up there like you were down on earth.
Ellen's legacy is going to live on in our schools and in the people who knew and loved her.
So I told you, you really don't need to say anything further about Ellen because it was unbelievable. We had people lined up who wanted to talk about her. And as I said, unfortunately, she's no longer with us. We have the honor of having her brother, Charlie O'Donnell, here today to receive the award on her behalf. Charlie?
Thank God I don't have to say too much because it's really hard watching that video. But I want to thank the Peabody Education Foundation for this great award. Ellen will be really proud of this. I want to thank the extended family that came tonight of Ellen's. I want to thank Laurie for nominating her and the other fellow teachers, Chris, Doreen, and Jan, who are here tonight. Ellen loved teaching. Ellen loved life. She loved everything about it. She loved her students and the pictures that I wrote a note about all the pictures that I would see over the years because I wasn't in school with her, but you saw an example of many of those pictures of her dressing up. On any holiday, she would go out of her way to entertain the kids. And it really struck me at her service back in May when so many of her former students, 15, 20 years ago, came up to me and remembered her as her favorite teacher. And that really struck me, the impact that she had on so many of them. And Haley Lamassney, who is here tonight, came up and spoke to me. And I remember Ellen talking about her as being one of her first grade students who she followed throughout her life and now as an adult. Congratulations to all the recipients. Really, Ellen would be honored to be a part of this group. Anyone here tonight knows Ellen as a teacher. I knew her as a caring, loving sister who she really connected with my grandchildren. And, you know, one of the things I told her many times when she was talking about having so much fun with the kids, I said, is because you've always been a first grader at heart. You never got older than that. But she really connected to my grandchildren. She would always give them the best Christmas presents that were the loudest, the funniest, and apologize to my children, saying, you're going to have to listen to these toys for the next few weeks over Christmas time. So she's missed every day. Thank you for this recognition. She would be so proud of it. And thank you. Congratulations, Ellen.
I told him that was going to be the toughest speech of his life. I have the honor of introducing the next recipient, who I met for the first time. Okay, so I don't look this old. but I met for the first time in 1972 at the opening of Peabody High School, where I don't know if she picked up on something or what, but I was spoken to in the hall by her right away. And I'm like, wow, nice new school, and I'm getting yelled at in the first day. But it wasn't a yell, it was more of an encouragement to keep moving along, and because you had to get to that next class. And we had a debate in the office, is it Micheline or Michaeline? I chose Micheline because she never corrected me. But I heard other people call her Micheline, so I'm going to use her proper name, Micheline. And she has been a wonderful influence at the high school. Are you ready? For over 50 years, and she's still working. How many? In this day and age, it's hard to find people who want to work over 5 years in one job. So it is amazing, her career. And this next clip is from people who care, who want to talk about Micheline, also known as Mrs. Haig.
Well, I was very fortunate that I had Mrs. Haig as a teacher. Junior year of English at Peabody Veterans Memorial High School. And right away, I was just amazed by her. She clearly smart, classy, and it just right away I felt like she cared about her students, cared about me. I felt that I learned a great deal from her. I always enjoyed English, enjoyed history, and the way she taught the class, just her style, really made an impact.
She really knew how to teach. Not just present material, but how to break things down so that students knew how to master each little aspect of a skill.
Michelina was my English teacher. And at first I thought she was quite strict. She had very high standards. And over time I realized that all she wanted was to get the best out of you and to make sure that they did their best work. She wasn't afraid to be critical of what you thought might be your best work and challenge you to drive it one step further. But what she taught me about, perfecting the craft of writing in particular was superb.
She is an amazing teacher. She is able to reach all levels of students. She is kind, she's compassionate, she knows her material, and she's able to relate that to her students.
She would give you the opportunity to do either a book report or to kind of do a performance. My friend and I decided we were going to do a little recreation of The Old Man and the Sea. So I did it at home. I was 18 at the time, or 17, 18 years old at the time, and I had my family as members of the cast. We did it at my house. We had a lot of fun with it, and we presented it to Mrs. Haig, and she played in the class, and we had her hysterically laughing. But I think she made it interesting, and you were eager to go to class because of the way she taught, and she wanted to make the students enjoy what they were reading.
We had read a short story, and she had asked us to write our own short essay on a subject matter that was much deeper than a typical 10th grade student was willing to explore. And I wrote this essay called Splat, which is the thoughts of a person as they dive off a building before they hit the ground. I did it as sort of a joke, but as I got into it, I was thinking about all these things. What would you think about? What would you? And I wrote them down. And I remember her scoring that essay and her comments. To this day, I still have that essay. And she told me at that point in time that I had a gift for writing that nobody had ever told me before, and that stuck with me.
On the last day of school, senior year, two of my friends and I decided to be rascals, as much rascals as we were, which, we were very nerdy, so, it wasn't anything exciting. At about 4:30 in the morning, the three of us piled into my car with a boombox, lounge chairs, and a bunch of food. So we showed up in her backyard at about 4:45 in the morning. We set up chairs as if we were by a pool, played the boombox, you know, at top volume, and woke her up. So we were laughing our heads off in the backyard, and we see this face in the bedroom window up above with curlers and pajamas and whatever. She opened the window, and she's looking at us like we just escaped from a mental institution. And she said, "Hi," because in a million years she would never be impolite. That's just not in her nature. It is just a great example of her personality. You know, anyone else would have screamed, "Bloody murder, get out of my yard, what are you know, wackadoodles doing," and whatever, but she is always nothing less than polite and gracious. And there's your anecdote.
Michaeline, you are respected, remarkable, amazing, kind, strong-willed, knowledgeable, passionate, and devoted to education in the city of Peabody.
I think of the impact that teachers like Mrs. Haig make, and I know the impact Mrs. Haig has left on the city of Peabody because I was one of her students, and she definitely impacted my career, impacted my life. But I think of how a teacher can impact a person through motivation, inspiring, just their teaching, being there for them when they're having a hard day. You know, those moments are so important to a child and so important to a student. And teachers like Mrs. Haig have really left an impact and made a difference in people's lives. And there's not many professions like being a teacher that can do that, can really have that impact.
The thing that came to mind as I was thinking about Michelina and getting this award, you know, when we originally conceived the idea of the George Peabody Legacy, we were looking to pay tribute to the unsung heroes. And, you know, the definition of an unsung hero is really somebody who goes in there every day slugging and isn't looking for the glory and the honor. They're looking for the satisfaction of doing what is best for others. So they don't always get those accolades, and they don't always get that feeling of being the hero. But in my mind, Michelina Haig is a hero.
I've been privileged to know Michaeline Haig for 40 years now. First as her student, then as her colleague, then as a parent of her students, and finally as simply a friend. And what I can tell you after all this time is that Michaeline is the finest combination of all three types of teachers. Having the knowledge in English as well as the related humanities fields, plus the personality to engage so well with adolescents, plus the emulation-worthy behavior of a morally upright, conscientious, and fun spirit all rolled into one classroom authority figure is just so incredibly rare. Luckily for the city of Peabody, literally thousands of our high school students have been personally impacted by Michaeline in one way or another. And the Peabody Education Foundation's members can be sure that their choice to honor her with a legacy award tonight is the smartest decision they could have made. Congratulations, Michaeline, you so deserve this.
Yes, you have to get up and speak. But here's the thing. Remember, you deserve it. You shaped so many lives. So
David, how can I follow?
it's easy. You're going to step right in here. It's my pleasure to award you the Judge Peabody Legacy Award, and you're going to now accept it.
I won't tell the story about how you saved a girl's life, so, okay. So, I don't know what to say, really. Mary Bell Vance told me to keep it short, so I basically will do that overall. And, okay, let me start with this. So, you'll find a way, Mr. D. Edward Gorman, my unofficial mentor in 1968, would tell me when a problem with a lesson or a student developed. And I guess his faith in me and the way has led me here in 2022. I'm touched to receive the George Peabody Legacy Award for paying the education debt of my generation to its successors. Thank you to all of those who may have nominated me. I am just flat out awed at this wonderful honor that is before me. Thank you to the Peabody Education Foundation for the important work it does, to the nominating committee for selecting me, and to its dedicated board members, so many of whom I've had the pleasure of meeting, and some I'm proud to say are former students of mine. So proud. Okay. So thanks to Mary Bellavance, okay, and the PEF for organizing and facilitating this lovely evening, and a sincere merci beaucoup to the founding family of Gravock, whose members are dear to my heart and who are deeply committed to the PEF. I was so surprised, stunned even, to receive the letter informing me of this award. Really? No, there must be some mistake. I'm just another teacher. That was my reaction. Once the reality set in, I felt overwhelmed, as so many of us do. So blessed to be included on the honor roll that graces the lobby of this school. My fellow recipients, Eric, Ellen, Judith, Mark, and Linda, are special colleagues. For our names to be added to those of mentors, friends, and colleagues already acknowledged on that banner for their contributions to educating Peabody's children almost has me speechless. Almost. Year 55 of teaching English at PVMHS has begun. 55 years. And that career all started on this site when it was a high school with William Welch as its principal. And William Welch was responsible for making me and Annie Metropolis the first AP teachers at the high school. And we've just blossomed since that time overall. It feels like no more than 10 or 12 years, but 10 principals, 11 superintendents, a few hundred colleagues, and over 5,000 students later, the numbers prove otherwise. People make teaching a satisfying, energizing, and challenging profession. Great experiences with compatriots and with students kept me energized. I think that's why I'm like the Energizer Bunny. Okay, and just keep on ticking with that. I've been so lucky to have wonderful sophomores, juniors, and seniors in my classes. Never taught freshmen, don't let anyone know. Okay. I'm proud of these young adults who've gone on to achieve significant work in their lives. And now some are fellow teachers, or I have some of their children in class. Even had a grandchild once. So I've been favored to work with several generations of accomplished and very personable educators, from the greatest lost and beats of my early years through my boomer to Gen X, millennial, and now Gen Z staff. We all have roles in defining what education is and should be. Through sharing, teaching, venting, collaborating, reflecting, and sometimes craziness and fun, we know what we do matters and how necessary community support is. Friends and colleagues, I wish I could name all of you for how important you are. There's so many people sitting out here that I know and value beyond words that I could tell you overall. We do not give up on the dream or stop finding a way for learning and education to succeed. I am beyond grateful to my family for shaping who I am, for supporting me and my work with patience, love, understanding, and occasional reality checks. My daughter Stacy, my sisters-in-law Louise and Corey, my brother Lou, my dear friends Madeline and Jody, you are as constant as the Northern Star, as Shakespeare's Julius Caesar says. My friends and workmates, no words convey enough gratitude for your treasured influence. You walk in the beauty of who you are. My former students, you are the legacy of the George Peabody Legacy Award. May stars shine good fortune on you always. Family, friends, colleagues, and students, my honor felt in accepting this award from the Peabody Education Foundation is also in tribute to you. Thank you for all the decades of joy. And may we all have that kind of joy in the rest of our lives. 55 years and more, maybe. So, thank you.
And by the way, thank you for the A. Since I did write that whole paper as a joke, but
Our next honoree is Judy McVan. Judy and I used to bump into each other as I was scooting in and out of the hallways here, working on either the Educational Council or what. It didn't matter. We were always seeing each other, and the descriptions in her nomination were just amazing. But the one that really got to me was the one where one of her students said she was referred to as Mama McVan. She cared deeply about her students. She spent 20 years and is still here at the middle school as a math teacher, and takes on the incredible actions every day to improve the capabilities of all our students. So with that, I'd like to roll the clip and you can hear what other people say.
Judy was an unbelievably talented math teacher. Students would call her Mama McVan because she was so committed to in supporting them, teaching them, and encouraging them to learn the skills that they would need to be successful in math.
She was really like, when it came to personalized instruction and wanting to make sure that she knew every single thing about all of her kids, one of the first things she always did was ask for data and test scores on all of her new incoming students, because she wanted to make sure she had them in the right place and was teaching them exactly what they needed to teach to their strengths. So she always cared so much about her kids and so much about their individualized and their personalized needs. So she did that all the time. That was always her focus, was teaching to each individual student.
She was so passionate about learning that the day before a test, you would find 25 or 30 kids in her room after school, kids that needed help, that extra boost to do well on a quiz or a test the next day. And she would get volunteers from the 8th grade, students who excelled, to come down and help out the 7th graders. She was just really passionate about teaching and learning and making sure that every kid learned. And she made sure that every kid did learn. She would chase kids down. She would pull them out of classes to come be with her, to review stuff for material for a test the next day.
She was always there for the kids. She was one of the first people to kind of pull together a cluster meeting to say, this kid needs help. What can we do to help out this kid? She was always the first one to get the ball rolling. She was very thoughtful to all the needs of the kids. I could never have asked for somebody better to work on a cluster with than that. She would always say, put your best foot forward. And she would go out of her way to make sure that the kids were making strides to become the best kid that they possibly could be and the best student that they possibly could be.
She just wanted everybody to do good in school. And whenever I needed help, she just told us to stay after on Thursdays, and a lot of kids stood after. Every time I stood after, even sometimes I got in trouble, she was always nice to me. And she gave us snacks and everything every time we stayed after. And everybody before tests, she helped us after. She used really good methods that everybody understand, and she actually had methods that you could choose from. Let's say division, there's long division and the regular division. For me, it was easier to do the regular division, but for other kids, long division was easier, a lot easier for them. And then that helped them got better grades.
You walk into her classroom, and it was an array of, posters that were supportive, that encouraged kids to learn, and just set a very positive tone for all her students. And she taught a wide variety of students, the very brightest to the students that really needed really detailed academic support. No matter what, every year her scores would show that her students made the most progress. And really, it was through her talents as a teacher and how she presented the material, using the computer, using, basic routine skills.
I just know that just talking about her presence and just how her voice booming through the hallways and through her classrooms, and just her general presence in the classroom are a lot of the memories that I have. I'm fortunate enough to know Judy both as a teacher and outside of school, and know what you see is what you get with Judy. And when she would say, "It's all good," that was her phrase that she always used, "It's all good," regardless of whether it actually was good at the time. She was always just positive and upbeat, and just always looked at the bright side and the positive side of everybody and everything.
She would always say, "It's all good." That was her thing. Things could be blowing up everywhere as a 6th grade class or a cluster could normally do, and she just look at the other teacher and goes, guys, it's all good. We've been here before, we've done this before, it's all good, let's keep moving forward. And that's what she would always say, it's all good.
Just someone that you look forward to speaking with all the time. The conversation was always great. I knew Judy a little bit outside of school as well, so we had some great times together. She's a great family person and just one of my favorite teachers that I had the opportunity of working with here over the last 15 years.
Congratulations, Judy, on being honored for this award. It is well deserved, and you set the bar really high because you were such an exceptional, phenomenal teacher.
Congratulations for getting the George Peabody Award.
Come on, Judy, it's all good. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, so I practiced. I think I'm only 4 minutes long, so we'll see what we can do here. Good evening. I would like to thank the Peabody Education Foundation for selecting me for the George Peabody Legacy Award. I also want to say thank you to my family, my husband John, my son Ryan, his fiancée Laura, and my beautiful daughter Sarah. Teaching was a career change for me. I started this new career in my 30s, so I went back to school and got my master's when my children were 1 and 3. I could not have done it without my husband's love and support. They say it takes a village to raise a child. This is a proverb that means the entire community of people must provide for and interact positively with children for those children to experience and grow in a safe, healthy environment. Well, I was that child. My village was filled with incredible people. So as you hear my experiences, you will hear several names that have been celebrated here before me for their contributions to the Peabody community, as well as future candidates. I was blessed to have them in my village. They gave me an opportunity to work, to learn, and to grow as an educator. Ernie Osborne gave me my first job in the educational field at the Brown School. I was blessed to have the opportunity to work with 2 incredible role models, Jimmy Janulis and Cheryl Abeo, for several years. Kate Cullinane and Jane Wilson hired me as a permanent teacher at the Higgins Middle School. They also hired my partner in crime for 18 years, Vinnie Raponi, the same day. In my village at the Higgins, I was graced with so many talented and professional teachers. Margaret Murphy was my mentor, Karen McGovern was my housemaster, Jane McDonald was my math department head, and Pat Minot was my union rep. And still to this day, 20 years later, we still have group therapy every Thursday at 5 o'clock at Champions. A couple of martinis and some steak tips, we could solve all the world's problems. Okay. As the years went on, my village became even stronger. We were known as the Marlins. Vinnie Raponi taught social studies, Joan O'Donnell was our paraprofessional, Dina Calazides was our special education liaison, and I taught math. Other teachers came and went, but we were together for 18 years. For many of the years, we hand-placed our students in their core classes to meet the students where they were educationally. This provided us to create an environment for our students to grow and get ready for the 7th grade. We didn't do what was easy. We always did what was best for the students. Through the years, we had a lot of laughs at the silly things that students did. And many times you would hear me in the hallway or in my classroom saying, "It's all good, it's all good." But we also shared some tears for experiences that some of our students were going through in their personal lives. The Marlins was a strong team. We knew the individual needs of our students and help block out some of the noise for our students to become resilient. Mr. Busey was our housemaster and our principal. Our associate principals, Peter Gianolfi, Dennis Heenan, Deb Giganti, and Michelle Fine were also in our village. Their consistent support and guidance allowed us to create an environment for our students to feel safe and to be ready to learn and to grow. I would like to thank you. I would not be here without my village. I'm truly humbled. Thank you.
Not only is it all good, that was pretty good. Our next honoree is Mark Metropolis. Does anybody ever call him Mark Metropolis? I mean, come on. My kids would come home and they'd say, "Oh, I'm going on a ski trip with Metro." Who's Metro? "Oh, Mark Metropolis." Of course, I knew, and he's had an amazing career and impacted literally thousands and thousands of students, not only as a teacher, but as a friend, and somebody who made kids understand that it's more than the classroom, it's life. So with that, we'll play our clip on Metro.
Mark Metropolis, as a teacher in the school, was one of the teachers that connected with a lot more than just his students. I mean, he was obviously involved in the electronics program, had a lot to do with creating that program and being involved with it all the years that he was at the high school. But he was also known by everybody else in the school because of all the organizations that he was involved in.
He brought so much spirit and life to Peabody High School. One of the biggest things was the ski club. Mark started the ski club at Peabody High School, and it ran for many, many years while he was there. And Mark worked so hard, and so many kids were provided the opportunity to go skiing that may never have had that opportunity in their life.
Mark Metropolis, you know, the man, the myth, the Metro, just his enthusiasm around the students and getting kids signed up for ski club, and just always just trying to find that connection and get kids to be a part of something. And the ski club was his thing, and we had a ton of fun on those trips, and the kids loved it.
And that was the name that he'd always go by, is Metro or Mr. Metro, never his full name. And you know, you would see him, he used to have fifth period as his prep period. And the reason was so that way he could be at all three lunches. And he would use that period to get kids involved in all the different programs, whether it was working with the Freshman Challenge or working with a ski club.
A dozen years older than my cousin Mark, and Mark was a student when I was a teacher at the high school. I remember him coming when I had administrative duties. He would come and we'd talk. I also taught him how to play tennis, I believe. And now that he's in the Tennis Hall of Fame, I think he owes me a great debt, which I am going to collect, Mark. So you owe me, and I'm going to come and get you.
I think that when you take a look at someone like Metro and why he's so deserving of this honor, it really comes down to the fact that his career may have been a teacher, but he didn't take it as if it was his job. He went above and beyond every single day. No one made him do all the extracurricular things that he did. He didn't have to spend all the nights and the weekends prepping for fundraisers for his class, or getting together to make sandwiches on a Friday night so that they could take the kids skiing on Saturday, or sacrificing weekends to be able to do those trips. And it was more of being part of the community and being part of the school than actually just being part of a job. And I think that that's something that really is a testament to him. A weekend does not go by where he's not out there skiing at Sunday River, where he bumps into a kid, or at that point now an adult, who's there with their kids that learned how to ski because of him.
Mark, you did an excellent job at the high school. You were in computers and electronics, and the family is proud of you. Also, I believe there were 3 Murtags in the George Peabody legacy, and now there were 3 Metropolises. So thank you very much for putting us up there with the Murtags.
So congratulations, Mark. This is a well-deserved award. You worked so hard and brought so much pride to Peabody High School, and they were so lucky to have you.
And he's not a bad skier either, for an old guy. Congratulations, Mike.
Wow. First, I'd like to congratulate all of tonight's past recipients of the George Peabody Legacy Award. I would like to thank the Peabody Education Foundation, who organized and implemented the formation of this award. This award validates that we as educators are truly appreciated for our commitment to the students of Peabody. I am proud to have been part of the Peabody Public Schools for nearly 30 years. Shortly after starting my teaching career as an electronics teacher, I learned that I could have a positive impact on our students' lives both in and out of the classroom. Whether it was as a teacher, coach, or advisor to the many clubs I was involved with, I always believed that the most important part of an educator's job is to find a way to connect with the students of all abilities and find their strengths to help them excel in and out of the classroom. It is my hope that I accomplish this by not only teaching, but also helping create well-rounded students through sports and extracurricular activities. To this day, there is nothing more satisfying than when I run into a former student and they update me on their lives since high school. I learn about their careers, their families, and their successes. It's most enjoyable when they reminisce about a class, a ski trip, a basketball game, the freshman challenge, or another high school event. It reminds me of the positive impact that we as educators leave on our students' lives and make me proud to have chosen education as my vocation. Finally, I'd like to thank my former colleagues, teachers, administrators, my family, and my coaches who assisted me throughout the years. Without them, we would not have been able to mentor the countless students that participated in all our activities. If I start naming people individually that helped me over the years, my speech would be longer than my cousin Elaine's. So I leave you with, thank you, everyone.
I'll see you at Whitecap. Now, last but certainly not least, our next honoree is Linda Robbins. And I've known Linda as well for a long time. And if God has a special place in heaven for teachers because of what they do, there's a super special place for people like Linda. As a special education teacher, she has to find a way to craft knowledge and skills to students sometimes who have only the ability to accept so much, or they block. And what I saw from her nomination was just so wonderful in terms of she treated every child uniquely and found that way. And the comment that kept coming through was dignity, patience, respect, and a real concern about making sure that her kids have a way to make it through life. You roll the clip.
When I heard that she was coming here to the department I was working with, I knew that, you know, it was going to be good. I knew that how involved she would be with the kids.
And I would say that she was very inclusive. It was really important to her that all students, her students, but all students, were treated equally and were given the same advantages that everybody else had.
She involved them in life skills. She involved different departments in the school system to help them to be inclusive. They learned social skills. They learned a lot.
Linda's a lovely lady. Linda raised a family, 4 girls, and her husband Arthur and they just delve themselves into their family and the community. Her legacy is not only in the educational background, but now she's volunteering at Newhall Farm to get a food to table program going. And that's Linda. That's Linda giving of Linda's self.
And it's funny, now that I see her more with her family and with her grandchildren, you see that that's what she gave to her students too.
Right.
That she
Absolutely.
just knew them inside out, knew that each of them was individual, knew that they had their own needs and that they had their own strengths, and she played to that. And that's what makes her, I think, a legacy.
Yeah, she's been a wonderful friend, and I've watched her over the years. Even when I retired, I subbed for her whenever she was out, and everything was on the spot. Her desk, it was like this high with papers. You asked her where something was, she knew exactly where she'd lift the things up, and I don't know. I don't know how she did it, but was a very involved teacher.
So I have a great memory of Linda. We ran a program at the high school for a fundraiser. At lunchtime would sell ice cream sundaes. And Linda made sure that every student in her program got to work the buffet line and serve the sundaes to the kids in the general population. The ice cream sundaes were a hit for the kids, but also they were a way for the students in Linda's program to get involved in the community.
I would say that she's just so warm and giving all the time in any circumstance. I call her a one-woman Amber Alert.
Right.
Because I remember being on the beach with her one day, and she saw this about 5-year-old walking all by themselves, 4 or 5-year-old, and she just shot up and she was looking around and she found the parent, June, and she was like, child, parent.
Yeah.
And she brought them
Right.
together.
Oh, that's
and
her.
that's what she does in her own life. She just connects people, and that's what she did throughout her career, is that she just connected students with who they needed to be with in the building, whether they were other teachers, other students, aides, clubs, transportation. She just could do that without even making it look like she was doing it.
Right, it was easy.
It's
rolled
easy.
It rolled off her back. She didn't actually try, she just did. And it came out, and this is Linda. I mean, you'd have to go through the thesaurus to find out all the words that pertain to Linda. She's just a great person, a great teacher, and a wonderful friend.
Congratulations on this wonderful honor. It's so deserving.
Congratulations, Linda. Very proud of you, and keep up the good work.
You know, you select the right people when all the former recipients are a part of the cheering squad. Congratulations, Linda.
Thank you so much. Last but not least. Being last has given me the license to make it short and sweet, as I see the grins through the group. It's a privilege and honor to receive the George Peabody Legacy Award. Thank you, members of the Peabody Education Foundation. Your programs and the resources you offer so enhance the quality of the Peabody Public School education. My students in my classes were often recipients of Best Bet grants, which is what they were called at the time, but they were very helpful in helping my students. I loved my career as a teacher in Peabody. I was committed to inclusion as the method of educating, as somebody said in one of the blurbs that was written, extraordinary students. That's a good way to say it. I would be remiss not to acknowledge that the success of the program and students was largely because of the support of my colleagues, the administrators, the general ed teachers, especially those teaching electives, which my students were included in. And that was just the best thing for them. And most important, my paraprofessionals. Where are you all? You just can't run classes like that without them, and I had nothing but the best. It takes a village. I had already written to educate a child, and Peabody High was that village for our students. Another important group of people in my life who I need to thank is my family. Their encouragement and support for all my school and after-hour activities was key. Thank you all very much. I love you. My 3 daughters were educated in the Peabody schools, and my grandchildren will be at Higgins before we know it. Don't forget Grayson and Adeline to look up at that wall and say good morning every morning to me when you come in. I look forward to continuing to help make Peabody a great place to live and raise and educate a family. Thank you again for this prestigious award. Congratulations to my fellow recipients, and I am proud to join the ranks of the honorees. Thank you very much, everybody.
So we're coming to the end of our program. They're going to raise the screen, and we have one musical selection from our a cappella group to kind of reinvigorate everybody. And a couple of housekeeping items. One is that if the recipients would please stay here at the end of the program just so we can get a picture of you as a group. We like to keep track of our classes, and you are now the class of 2022. And 2, I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you to all the PEF members, including a non-PEF member, my wife, who put this whole thing together. When you want to talk about a village, they really just take it in hand. Mary, Debbie, Christine, Kathy, Barbara, you name it. Everybody chipped in to make this happen, and they do it all in their own time. So I want to thank them. If you could give them a round of applause, I would appreciate it. Okay, team, it's yours.
I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. It's not hard to do. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. It's not hard to do. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. It's a fact subatomically. I am, you are me. It's a fact subatomically. I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? It seems like I'm over here, I'm over there, you're over there. That's what I said. There is something between us that's greater. It seems like I'm over here, I'm over there, you're over there. That's what I said. There is something between us that's greater. It seems like I'm over here, I'm over there, you're over there. It's a fact subatomically. a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. Inside your head, inside my heart, we fit together, perfect from the start.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Acapella Group. You're awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it again this year. So that concludes our ceremony for this evening. We want to thank you all for coming, for your patience. We certainly try every year a different formula, and this was a good formula. We had such a great class. So how about one more round of applause for the class of 22. Good night. Drive safely.